everyone. My name is Ethan Weber, and this is my current event speech on the Discoverers, Chapter 72, titled Explorers Among the Ruins. Quote, a people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Marcus Garvey. Archaeology is a lens to see into the past. It is one of humanity's and society's greatest tools into preserving human identity and human culture. It does this by looking at past relics and preserving them categorically. As our age will pass and as our lives will become relics. It is the duty of future generations to learn from these and from the lessons that they teach. Where did archaeology come from, however? Archaeology is relatively new within the last 500 years. However, interest in the past is universally ancient. Humans have always been interested in where they came from and where they preceded from. However, the actual science of archaeology, including the methods, the techniques, and the actual discipline of it, are new within the last 500 years. Archaeology developed out of a post-Roman Europe. In this society, people were surrounded by a bygone era of marble statues, ruins, and temples. Some of these marble ruins were used for things such as the building of Westminster Abbey, but others were thankfully preserved. It was Cyrus of Ancona who was the first one to preserve these ancient relics, giving him often the title of Father of Archaeology. He was born from 1398 and died in 1453. He was an Italian antiquarian who sketched and recorded these ancient ruins, thus helping preserve the Roman legacy and is vital to our understanding of the Roman culture back in the time. However, it was Johann Winckelmann who truly revolutionized the science of archaeology and its methodologies. He was born on December 9th, 1717, and lived until 1768. He grew up heavily impoverished. However, he turned into the founder of art history. He had an immense passion for Greek and Roman culture, and this fueled him to chronicleize and stylistically classify art. This sounds relatively common to us, however, it was new for his time, as art had only been described or categorized descriptively. However, Winckelmann turned it into a science, describing art both in the time that it was produced and with a certain style, whether that was Renaissance or Impressionist, which would have come later after him, but could be applied to this day. He helped turn archaeology into a true discipline. With the advance of technology, archaeology has developed, and this is how it looks like in our modern day. With things like carbon dating, although it may be unreliable, we have greater access and preciseness into knowing where things fit into our past. And with technology such as the X-rays, we can peer deeper into things that we may not be able to see with our natural eyes. For example, the Dead Sea Scrolls were so ancient that they couldn't fully be unraveled without risking destroying them. Thus, by using X-rays, we were able to peer into the past and see many of these Old Testament documents. We as a society are no longer just digging. We're using data, chemistry, and computation to look into the past. With this combination of science and archaeology, we have deeper insights. The discovery that happened relatively newly this April was this discovery of a garden near the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. This verifies the biblical accounts of where Jesus was buried in John 19:14, which says, now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden was a new tomb in which no one had been yet laid. The Bible goes on later to explain that Jesus was laid in this tomb. And archaeologists found olive trees, grapevines, and an entire riverbed complex near the site of the Holy Sepulchre where Jesus was rumored to be crucified. They used technologies to date all these um, organics back to around approximately 2,000 years ago, which is when Jesus was crucified. The methods that they used were archaeobotanical analysis on soil samples, and this shows that as technology develops, we as a society can peer deeper into the past and prove biblical truths. In conclusion, archaeology is uncovering truths. It re examines what we think we know, and it challenges and inspires us. From Wickleman to today, we must look one layer at a time, connecting past to present. Thank you.